Yeah, look different. Exactly. Yeah. Like what happened? Like where are you going? What are you doing? Yeah. Okay. So today we're going to be looking at comparatives. Hi Arnold, come on in. How are you? Oh, here you go. Here, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, so we're going to see first an example. And so this is Dr. Finkel's invention. Yeah? Dr. Finkel invention. So here we have Dr. Finkel. Like, you can see he's like a crazy scientist. A bit like, what was the movie? Gru from the Minions. Yeah? Dr. Gru. And this is Boris. Okay? Boris is his assistant. So like a minion. Okay, so it says here, look, it says, Dr. Finkel is an inventor. And he has just designed a new machine. The machine can change people. And here it says, look, Life Change Center, less intelligent, more intelligent, younger, older, smaller, bigger, fatter, thinner, weaker, and stronger. See? So these are all things that Dr. Finkel can change. He says his assistant Boris is going to try the machine for the first time. Okay? So we're going to have, let's see, we'll have Boris as Arnold is going to be Boris. And Pablo is going to be Dr. Finkel. Okay? So let's listen. Boris, when you're ready. Yeah.
Is it safe, Doctor?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course it is, Boris.
I'm afraid, Doctor.
Nonsense. This machine is going to change you.
Not change ya. Change you.
Change you.
Change. No shh. It's change you. Change you. Change. Change you. Okay, good.
You want to be a better person, Boris? Stronger, thinner, healthier, happier.
I'm happy now, Doctor.
Well, you're going to be happier and more intelligent.
I'm intelligent now, Doctor.
Yes. Well, you're less intelligent than I am, Boris. Just get into the machine.
But Doctor, wow.
Yes, and younger too. Sorry about that, Boris.
Mommy, I want my mommy.
So what happened? Boris, he was afraid to get into the machine, and he was like, Doctor, he says, is it safe? And the doctor, yes, of course. Like he's trying to convince him to get into the machine. It's like, and so then Boris, he goes, I'm afraid, doctor. And he goes, nonsense. So nonsense is like, don't be stupid. Like nonsense. It's okay.
Like don't worry.
Yes, it's like, don't worry. It's like all good. Like, don't be stupid. It's fine. It's okay. And it says, this machine is going to change you. You're going to be a better person, right? And he goes, you're going to be stronger, thinner. So stronger, thinner. I wish I could be thinner. Healthier and happier, right? And Boris goes, but doctor, I'm happy now. And he goes, well, you're going to be happier. So you see, we don't say more happy. We don't say more strong, right? So when you guys typically speak, you say, use this. This is better, more strong, right? And even when you read and you pronounce correct, instead of saying, for example, easier, you go, it's easy, but you don't say easier, right? Remember, we're in Australia. So Pablo, for example, you can see he's imitated very much the Australian accent, which can be good, but can be bad. Because we don't say in Australia, we don't say we don't say stronger, we don't say thinner, happier, healthier, right? In Australia, we say so happier. So that's why Pablo says happier, stronger, healthier, right? The it's very American. So we say in Australia, instead of the okay? And so then Boris says, oh, but I'm happy now, doctor. Well, you're going to be happier and more intelligent. Well, why more intelligent? So this is what we're going to talk about today. Exactly. Because of the syllables. Absolutely. So it says, oh, yes, well, he says, so more intelligent? He says, yeah, but you're less intelligent than me. And this is why we say, how are you today? More or less. Do you speak English? Yes, more or less. Do you know how to cook? More or less. Huh?
But can you say so-so?
No.
Why?
Because it's wrong. Because it doesn't exist. Because it's horrible English. Yes? The so-so, I have no idea where this came from. Like, honestly, I don't know. Maybe like so many other things people say, and then somebody goes, oh, that's how you say it, and continue. But really, what you should say is more or less. This is better. You know, if I say to you, for example, Anna, what time are you coming to school? And you might, oh, I think more or less at 5. So you're not telling me 5 o'clock. You're saying at about, around, approximately. So this is your more or less. So I always tell my students, with me, never, ever use so-so. Because I will kill you. Okay? It is the worst of English that I hear. You know, when people say, oh, I'm sorry, my English no good. So. Like, okay. Right? So you could say, I don't speak very good. Or you could say, oh, I speak more or less. Like just saying more or less. But yeah, so instead of like, how are you today? You could say, oh, pretty good, or not so good. But then you go, oh, more or less. Why? What happened? Oh, I have a headache. Could be. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So no. It says, oh, well, you're less intelligent than I am, Boris. So where it says than I am, we're putting emphasis to say than me. Because you say, oh, you're less intelligent than me. Okay, it passes. But if you go, you're less intelligent than I am, now I'm giving more importance to me, the object. And they said, Boris, just get into the machine, right? It's kind of like maybe at work, or maybe you at the barbershop, right? A customer comes in, hey, I want you to cut like, and you might go, yeah, well, he might go, oh, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. It's like, just get in the chair, right? But then it's like, are you sure this is going to look good? Are you sure it's not going to be too short or whatever? Or maybe a customer comes with a crazy idea that you go, I'm not sure about this. And then you go, are you sure? And you probably repeat many times, like, are you sure? Are you sure? I'll never forget. I remember once I had this, my hair has been so many different colors. But I remember at some point, I was tired being blonde. I'd been blonde for a long time. And I went to the hairdresser and I said, oh, please, can you dye my hair black? But I want black, like the night. He looked at me. He said, okay. But before I, dye black, I want you to do something for me. I want you to go for a walk for an hour. Think about it. If you come back and you still want me to do it, I'll do it. But I want you to be sure. And I was like, okay. So I went, came, okay, can you dye my hair black? Okay, sit down. But, he wasn't sure because he said to me, like, a lot of people sometimes after they color and then they look and it's like, because, you're not prepared. You're not prepared for this. So, yeah, the same thing. Here, Boris is not sure. He's scared. Just do it. And so then he gets into the machine, and what happens? Boris was right to be afraid. I think Boris was like afraid because probably he's worked with the doctor before and said, hey, I don't know if this guy really knows what he's doing, And so that's why just do it. Now, lucky enough, maybe because of all the buttons, right? Younger, older, whatever, he can change Boris after. But he made Boris a baby. And so Boris, he goes, get into the machine. But doctor, where? Yes, and younger too. Sorry, Boris. Okay? So this is a very good dialogue where you can see a lot of comparatives. Yes? How does this work? Okay, let's go back to our unit 87. Let's look at the rules. Okay, so you see here he says, I'm 92. So he's old. And she's 93. She says, I'm 93. So older. Here, this is 40 kilos. So it is heavy. And this is 50 kilos. So this is heavier. Right? Yes. And here we have 105 pounds expensive and 120 more expensive. So what is happening here? So we have older, heavier, more expensive are comparative forms. The comparative is or more. So how does this work? So it says one syllable. What is a syllable? So syllable. And I would say not just one, but two. So one syllable. Two syllables. Correct? So when we have words that are one syllable or two syllables, we are going to add ER. So you see, this is when we go hard. What do we say? So what would the word be? Harder. If we say easy, easier. What about if we say cold? Colder. What about if we say hot? Hotter. What about if we say warm? Warmer, right? So 1 to 2. What about pretty? Prettier, correct? What about if we say, what about if I say clever? Clever.
Never.
But
I know, more clever.
Yes, more clever. So we do have exceptions to the rule because I can't say cleverer. So I must say more clever. What about, for example, if I say handsome? More handsome. But some people say handsomer. How do I know when to use and when not? Only with practice. What about if I say often? More often is correct. You see? So only with the practice, often means many, many times. So I can't say oftener. So I go more often. Okay? And that's how it works. And here, as you can see, we have different rules. it's very important to learn these rules. So simple words: old, older; slow, slower. So when you say teacher, you say to me, speak slow. I continue to speak, but you want me to speak, don't say this, more slow. So you want me to speak slower. So you, teacher, speak slower. I don't understand. See? So more slow, it technically, right? But no, don't say more slow. Slower. Here, cheap.
But I cannot say.
Can I say?
Can I say very slow?
But that's different because when you say very, very is the quantity. So to say you speak very slow, I'm describing how slow, but we're not comparing. But if I say, for example, Pablo speaks faster than you. Yeah, you speak faster than everybody. So you see what I mean? Like we're comparing. But if you say, if I say, oh, she speaks very slow, am I comparing? No. Get it? So that's why it's two scenarios. And when you say she speaks very slow, this is very, very different from Paulo speaks faster than you. Because now we're comparing two people. So if I say Pablo speaks faster than you, what am I saying? He speaks fast, you speak slower. Yeah? Okay. Beautiful. It's a comparative. And that's what we're looking at, comparative forms. So this one says nice, nicer. Originally, when I was a child, we used the word nice only for food and drinks. You would eat and go, oh, this is nice. Or go, this tastes nice. But over the years, people started using nice for everything. So they use it for places, they use it for people, they use it literally for everything. Well, that class today was nice, right? Instead of saying very good, instead of saying, oh, that place is beautiful, they're like, oh, that's nice. Oh, she's a nice person. Really, that's not how you use nice. So we use nice for food and drinks, yes? But everybody uses it for everything, and that's okay. Late, later, big, bigger. Now, look at this. Look at this. Yeah, I think this should be okay. These pens don't last very long. Okay, so look at this, guys. See here, there is a consonant and then a vowel and then a consonant, and I've added an extra letter plus the ER. Here, consonant, vowel, consonant, extra letter. And here, consonant, vowel, consonant, extra letter. Now, this is something very common, but not always. Okay? So just like, for example, when we say, I was thinking of another one. I can't remember. Give me a sec. I just want to. Okay, so it's super important that you learn these, you could say these rules, because they also apply for actions, for verbs. For example, when we say get, correct? Here you have your consonant, vowel, consonant. So then we add an extra T when we use ing. The same, for example, if it's swim, yes, I'm going to convert into swimming. If, for example, it is right, and again, I'm going to add an extra T, writing, stop, stopping. So these rules are very good to learn. Yes? With this one, correct, we have a letter here. Okay? So we have a letter here, and we have the Y. Yes? As you can see, the Y, we eliminate. So here it's a consonant Y. We eliminate the Y, and we add IER. Yes? So we say easy, easier, heavy, heavier, early, earlier. Yeah? Now, also, this applies for our actions. When we say, for example, study, so here's my consonant Y, eliminate the Y, and it's going to become studies. When do we do this? When we use he, she, and it in simple present. Yes? Another one, if we say, for example, try, this is going to become tries. If it's a vowel and a Y, nothing happens. We just add S, correct? So this one, the rule is very similar. Consonant Y, drop the Y, add IER for the comparative. And for the action, you add IES. Okay? Got it? Yeah, so those rules are really, really good to learn. Okay. Let Jerry copy. Okay, good, Jerry? Yeah, amazing. Let's continue. Okay, let's see. Alice, when you're ready, please, can you read for me? There it is, nice and big. Go for it. What does it say? Yes, read. Sorry, again? Louder, louder. No, Rome.
Rome is old.
Yeah.
But
Athens. Athens.
Athens is older.
Yeah, so Rome is in Italy and Athens is in Greece. And of course, Greece is older than Italy, right? Yeah, continue.
It's cheaper to go by car or by train.
Yep.
Helen was a bigger car.
Yes.
This coat is okay, but I think the another
No, not another.
one.
No, it doesn't say another one. It says, but I think the other one.
I think that the other one is nice.
Nicer. Uh-huh.
Don't take the boat.
The bus.
The bus. This is easier to take the taxi.
Good. So here we've got Rome is old, but Athens is older. So we don't say more old. Yes? It is cheaper, meaning less money. Yes? To go by car or by train. Sorry, question. It's a question. Is it cheaper to go? See how my voice changes? Is it cheaper, because it's a question, to go by car or by train? Not more cheap. Helen wants a bigger car. It doesn't tell me what car Helen has. It says Helen has a car, maybe, but she thinks it's too small. So she says, oh, I want a bigger car. What car? We don't know, right? It says this coat is okay. So coat is like a very long jacket. So this coat is okay, but I think the other one is nicer, meaning prettier, more beautiful. Yeah? And don't take the bus. It's easier to take a taxi. Okay? Good. Now, comparatives, if you think about it, you use it a lot for everything. You know, for example, the first thing, when you come to Australia, I imagine a lot of your friends, so you're in Australia. Oh, good for you. What's it like? Is it more expensive than Chile or Colombia or China? Is it more beautiful? Are people friendly? What's the food like? So you might say, oh, look, I know you're all going to say the same thing. Australia is more expensive than Chile, Colombia, or China. Yes? It is more expensive. But you could say, oh, but the salaries are higher. Correct? So yes, the living is more expensive, but the salaries are higher than in Chile, Colombia, or China. Yes? You could say, oh, the people are maybe friendlier. You could say, oh, and it's safer. I don't need to worry about my bag. I don't need to worry about my phone. Correct? So it's safer. But then you might go, but the food. The food is tastier in China, Colombia, or Chile. Correct? the food definitely, I would say, is not very good in Australia, right? So this is what you do when, for example, when you go to inspections. So what place did you like? Oh, I like the one in Bondi. Yeah, but that one is more expensive than the one in the city. Yeah, but to say something, the house, was bigger. The neighborhood was cleaner, and so yeah, but the one in near the city is cheaper, and it's closer to work, right? So again, like this is how you go. Oh, did you like the place in, let's say, Waterloo? Yeah, like the rooms were bigger, but there was no garden. To say, oh, and remember the one we saw in Paddington was more expensive, but the rooms were like bigger. To say it was lighter, so meaning more light, etc., etc. So when you're doing comparatives, this is what you do. When you're working at one place and you might not like it, oh, I'm thinking of changing jobs. Oh, really? Yes. Yeah, I want to look for something, and you say, I want to look for something better. So then maybe a week or two later, you go, oh, I got a new job. Oh, really? What I said to you. And you were like, oh, and I was like, oh, like, what's it like? And you said, oh, I'm feeling much better. My boss is very, very nice. To say, for example, they are paying me more. So even if they say they are paying me more, it's still like they are paying me more as to before. Correct? So you're still comparing, even though you don't go, oh, I'm making more money now than before. So that's your direct comparative. But when you say, oh, I'm making, oh, she's paying me more, same thing. You're giving me the idea of than before. To say, oh, I work less hours, or you could say my shift is shorter. To say the customers are friendlier. Like anything that you do or you're saying, right, is always going to be comparing. Yeah. When people say, why do you like this? Why not do this? Oh, because, and you give your reasons why. You might say, for example, oh, I like to do this more. This is more interesting to me than this. I have more time to do this than this. So you can use comparatives for many, many different things. Yes? So let's analyze. First, we could say, so Alice, how old are you? 45. Okay. And I'm 50. Yes? So we're going to say Nicole is older than Alice. Yes? Nicole is the subject, she, and Alice is the subject, is older than her. Also she. Yes? But this is the subject and this is the object. Another way that I can say this is that Nicole is older than her. I say Alice so that we understand we're talking about Alice. But, to say, oh, how old is Alice? Oh, she's 45. 45, right? Yeah. And you might go, oh, the teacher is older than her. See what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily have to be Alice. It could be her. So we saw this. We saw pronouns a few weeks ago. And so subject is the person who does the action or the key person we're talking about. And the object is the person that receives the action. Okay? So that is the difference. Now, we can also say that Nicole is older than, and we can say she is. This is another option. Nicole is older. Here I have my is. So we go, Nicole is older than she is. I'm repeating again, she is, to give more emphasis. So it's not the same as, oh, you know, Alice, I'm older than her. Then to say, I'm older than she is. That is more stressed. Okay? Good. So that's a first idea. We could also say, for example, yes. So here we could say that Sydney is more interesting than Perth. We're saying interesting. Why? Because when we have 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables, so again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., we're going to use more. So a lot of you, when you pronounce this word, you say interesting. No, we don't say interesting. So it's kind of like we abbreviate, right? So we go interesting. It's like the inter is like tres. So instead of interesting, so you go, oh, interesting. So 3 syllables. So we're going to say more. So here I'm saying Sydney is more interesting than Perth. Yes? So now I'm talking about a place. I can talk about people and I can talk about places. And I can also talk about things. So another example to say, so here we're going to say, my hair is longer than hers, than Alice. Okay? And now what am I using? I'm using here in this one, I'm using the adjective pronoun. So my, your, our, they, their. And here I have the possessive pronoun. And if you notice here, I'm talking about possession. That's why we're using the pronouns. Yes? And so what other way could I say this? I could say Nicole's hair is longer than Alice's. I don't need to say hair, not necessary to repeat hair, because I've already got it here. So very clear, my hair is longer than hers. Nicole's hair is longer than Alice's. And we know what we're talking about. Okay, good. Now, another example. Alice, how many children do you have? 2. And I have 5. So we could say, another example, Nicole has more children than Alice. So not necessarily do I need to compare just with adjectives. I can also compare with things. So here I'm talking of another way to call possession when I say has. She has. So we would say she has more children than her. Or I could say I have more children than her. I have more children than Alice. And if it was the other way around, what would we say? Alice has less children than me. We turn it around. Because I'm talking, so I go, Alice has less children than, it comes back to me. I, me. Good? And this is only affirmative. You can also use negative. But we'll see that probably during the week. Okay? This is just affirmative, what we're looking at. Okay, good. Can I erase, Jerry? Yep, I can erase. Okay, amazing. Look at this one now. This one says far or further. What does this mean? Where do you live, Alice? Hertzville, Newtown, Granville, Riverwood. Oh no, Riverwood or East Gardens, East Lakes. East Lakes. Okay, and I live here in Roselle. So you see, we have, for example, close, close, far, far. But if we were to say, for example, Arnold lives closer to the city than Alice. Jerry, to say something, lives further away than Arnold, than Pablo, than Alice, and probably me. Okay, so further means more far. So close, far. But when I say, oh, I live closer to the city than all of you, correct? But to say, Jerry lives in Granville, she lives further away than all of us. So you can also say further. We also say farther. Some people say further, other people say farther. It's the same. And father is pronounced just like father, dad. But in this case, so how will we know? Context. Yes? Okay. Arnold. How far?
How far is it to the station?
To the station, not a station.
To the station.
To the station. A mile?
A mile?
Yeah.
No, it's a.
No, not it's a.
It's,
No, it's.
No, it's. Far.
Further.
Further.
It's further. So about
2
miles. Miles, correct? So no, it's further. And sometimes, you know, when you take like a taxi or an Uber or something and you give the address, and sometimes they stop. And they go, oh, here? Is it here? And oh, the GPS is telling me here. Oh, no, further down. Further down. Or you might go further up. Oh, they told me there's a bank. No. Further up. 1 block. 1 block more. Right? So you go further up. So meaning more far. But we don't say more far, right? We say further or farther. Yes? Good. So that one, as you can see, is what we call an exceptional. We do not add, well, we add er, far, but you can't say fara. So we change the word completely. Okay? And then it says that we have words that have 2, 3, 4 syllables or more. So, for example, careful. So even though, remember, we said careful, 2 syllables. But I cannot say carefuler. So we say more careful. Polite, more polite. Although some people use and say politer. Some people do say that.
Not correct.
It isn't correct. Yes, it isn't correct. What? To say politer? Yeah, you can say it. Like there are certain words people use like both ways. Yes. For example, handsome. I usually say more handsome, but a lot of people say handsomer. I'm not saying it is handsomer. I'm just saying some people say handsomer, and that's okay.
That's not proper English.
Well, it is because what it is like different countries. So American versus British and so on. And how do we know which words we can do this? Just with practice. When you hear, like I've heard people say handsomer. I've seen it on TV, especially on American TV series.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't say handsomer. I go, oh, he's more handsome than. That's how I say it. Okay? And politer too, like to say, yeah, use that because it's more polite. Well, I've heard people say politer. Expensive, more expensive. So again, we go expensive, 3 syllables, more. More interesting, we talked about this one, 3 syllables. Okay, let's see. Jerry.
You must be more careful.
Yeah.
I don't like my job.
Yeah.
I want to do something more interesting.
Yeah.
Is it more expensive to go by car or by train?
Yes. So it says you must be more careful. Yeah. If you, for example, let's say you're driving and boom, and you might crash. Oh, I had an accident last night. Really? What happened? Oh, I was very tired and I don't know what happened. I fell asleep. So somebody's going to say, well, you need to be more careful. You must be more careful. If, for example, your phone, typical, or the screen is cracked or whatever, broken. So, oh, what happened? No, my phone, it fell on the ground. It broke. You need to be more careful. Remember I told you the other day with your daughter when she left the phone on the train? You went to get the phone. And I said, you must teach her. You need to be more careful. Yeah? Good. I don't like my job. I want something more interesting. Is it more expensive to go by car or by train? Yeah. And we have other exceptionals. So here we have good and well. Good, very good. Well is more in terms of how you are. To say, how are you today? Very well. Now, can I say very good? Yes, you can say very good, but usually very good is bravo. Very good. How are you today? Very well. If I say, Alice, she speaks Chinese very well.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So what I'm trying to say is that well and good are not necessarily the same. It will depend on the context. Sometimes when people, they ask you, what do you think about, we were talking about this earlier, right? What do you think about the situation that is happening in Ukraine, in Russia, in Gaza, Israel? Oh, he likes to talk these topics. And so you might say, oh, it's a very well question. No, this is not correct. you would say, that's a very good question, but not very well, because very well means good, but in terms of your health, in terms of how you do something. If I go, oh, Jerry, you know what? She swims very well. This is an ability she has. And I can say very well or very good. But I can't say, oh, that's a very well question. No, it doesn't make sense. That's a very good question. Okay. So these are not interchangeable. Anyway, when we say from a comparative point, good or well, so the comparative is going to be better. A lot of students, they write, oh, teacher, sorry, I'm not going today because I have a cough. I think it's the flu, so I don't contaminate anybody, or I'm going next week to say something. So then maybe 2 or 3 days later, I write a message. How are you feeling? And so the person goes, oh, better. Thank you. Yeah, I've been sleeping in bed. I've been resting. So yeah, I feel better. Or if you have a headache, here, take some Panadol. How are you feeling? Better. When you arrive to Australia, right? When you listen, when you hear people speaking, you might go, I don't understand anything, right? But the weeks go by and you continue to listen. And what happens? It gets better. Because it's not that you can understand everything, but, you start to learn words. You can start to buy things, communicate, right? Same when you start studying English. At the beginning, Alice was saying, oh, I've been studying English forever. And she said, when I was living in Perth, I couldn't understand anything. In Melbourne, it was a bit better. And now in Sydney, it's much better. So you see, a bit better, much better. So we can also give the quantity of how much you improve. And if you do an exercise and I go, no, wrong, do again. You do it again, you show me and I go, oh, much better. Yeah, meaning good. Yes? And here, if it's bad, usually worse. What is the big question when people get married? Have you seen when they get married in English? And so you have here Tom and Sarah. Look, Sarah, do you take Tom for better, for worse? It doesn't say in the good and the bad. It says for better or for worse, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. Yeah? What are they doing? So a lot of people, when they go, no, I'm no good for you. You're too good for me, blah, blah, blah. We should separate. You should go. And you see in the movies, right? Very dramatic. And always the man or the woman, they go, no, because I made a promise. When we got married, I said, for better or for worse. Well, this is the worst, but it will be better. I said, in richer or poorer, meaning if you are rich, okay. If you're poor, so yeah. A lot of people don't think about that as a commitment, right? Today they say new generations, boom, they get married, and then tomorrow don't like this, boom, exactly, boom, go, goodbye. First problem, they're out of there. Sure. So let's see. Pablo, slow and steady. I want every letter, the S's, the TH's, everything. Okay? Okay, good. Come on.
The weather wasn't very good yesterday,
Yes.
but it's better today.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Do you feel better today? No, I feel worse.
Yeah, worse.
Which is worse? Headache or toothache?
A toothache. I always say a toothache is worse, not just a headache, but a toothache is worse than having a baby. It is horrible. It is the worst. It drives you crazy. Because when you have a toothache, it's like you feel like this doom, 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 doom all the time. It is horrible. When you're having a baby, at least like you're, you know, and then you have the baby and you're, you know, but the toothache can go on and on. It is excruciating. Okay. So it says the weather wasn't very good yesterday, but it's better today. I would say that the weather was better yesterday than today. And I would say even that the weather was better on Saturday than today. Do you feel better today? No, I feel worse. Like I need to go to a doctor or maybe even the hospital. Okay? Any questions? No. Very simple, right? Pretty clear? Yes? Jerry? Any questions? No? Super easy peasy. Yeah? Okie dokie. Let's go. So here we have our first exercises. Yep. Okay, let's see. So here we have heavy. Here we have heavier, 40, 50 grams. This is the house. This is big. So what would be the comparative? Bigger, correct? Super easy. So this is the tortoise. It is slow, but the snail is slower. This is just like when you're driving too. You know when you go, oh, can you drive slower? Or maybe too slow, and you might go, can you drive faster? Right? Expensive. What are we going to say? More expensive. Yes. And this one, high. Higher. Look, simple. That's it. And dangerous, again, dangerous, more dangerous. So you see, that's the basic rule. Very easy. Yes? Okay, good. Not too difficult. And here we have the comparative of each word. So old, older, strong, stronger, correct? And I can even just add here, yes? Strong, one syllable, stronger. Happy, this one, because we have the consonant and the Y, yes, we're going to eliminate the Y. And so we're going to say happier. Not more happy. Yes? Happier. What about this one? Modern. More modern. Yes. It is more. What am I doing? I'm going to write modern. More modern. Important. So you go important, 3 syllables. More important. And this one, good. No. What was the exceptional for good? Have a look. Better. And you know, just like the word water and butter. So when we have, for example, this one, water butter, and better. You know how we say water, butter, better? Why? Because here we have vowel, vowel. So the T in this case is going to sound like D. That's why we pronounce water, butter, better. Okay? Some people say better. That's fine. But yeah, native English speakers, we don't speak like that. We don't say better. We say better. Large. Larger. So larger. So if we have something that is big, we go larger, right? Serious. More serious. Pretty. Pretty. Prettier. Yeah. Pretty. Here's the Y. Here's the consonant. Eliminate the Y, and we're going to say prettier. And crowded? More crowded. Yes? So meaning that there's a lot of people. Here now we have the opposite. Yes? So the opposite is the other side. So younger, the opposite is older. Colder, the opposite is hotter. Cheaper, the opposite is more expensive. Better, worse. Nearer. So nearer is like closer. Further or farther. Yes, good. Further or farther. And easier? Okay, I like that. But yeah. What else can we say? Instead of more difficult, harder. But it's a good one, more difficult, definitely. You see, that is the difference when you have somebody who is at a beginning level and somebody who has a higher level, because they don't think in the easy answer. It's more developed. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Very good. Okay. Good. You remember? Okay. It says, complete the sentences, use a comparative. So it says, Helen's car isn't very big. We don't know how big, we don't know how small, we just know it isn't very big. So she wants a bigger one. My job isn't very interesting. I want to do something more interesting. How many? 60. Okay, let's see. First one. So it says, you're not very tall. Your brother is? Okay, that's a very complete answer. You could say your brother is taller. That would be okay. And if you want to give the full answer, yeah, I'm going to accept that. Than you. But just like this is okay. Short answer. David doesn't work very hard. I work harder. I work. I said it right? Yeah, sorry. So I work harder. But yeah, like, as Arnold says, if you want, you could say, so that is perfect. But if you want to add, you could say, David doesn't work very hard. I work harder than him. That would be the complete answer. Yes? Okay, good. My chair isn't very comfortable. Yours
Not comfortable.
is more comfortable. And then if we do it completely, than mine. Yes? You're using yours, so you're comparing yours to mine. Your idea isn't very good. My idea is better. And then, yeah, you could say better than yours. These flowers aren't very nice. The blue ones are nicer. Okay, Jerry. 8.
Heavier?
Yes,
Heavier?
yes, heavier. So my bag isn't very heavy. Your bag is heavier. You know, this happens to me a lot when you go to the supermarket, and sometimes with my daughters, they go, "Mum, here, take this bag. It's lighter. I'll take these ones. These are heavier." Right? So in everything that you do, sometimes, you use comparatives. Another thing too, when I go to the supermarket, some people when they shop, they need something and they go with the trolley and they just put, not me. When, I go with my family so I look and and they see me, probably say, "Oh, she's crazy." Start taking, and then, "Mum, why? Why do you take this?" I go, "Because, look, this one has more sodium. This one is not as healthy as the other one. The other one is cheaper, healthier, and less sodium." Oh, okay. Or sometimes, another product, but I always check. I check the labels. I check the stars. And sometimes when they go, "Oh, Mum, the deodorants for the bathroom, the detergent." No. I'll buy it in the reject. It's cheaper. Same brand, but I pay much less. You see what I mean? So we all have these things, right? When you go to the supermarket. If I go and it's like the bananas, oof, and I go, "Oh, they were cheaper last week. No, I'm not buying this week." Or the avocados, same thing. Sometimes I go, "Oh, I'm going to get avocados," and boom, I get a lot because they're cheaper. But other times, oof, very expensive. See? So even when you're shopping, why do you prefer one brand versus another brand? Yeah? You were saying to me, that you guys get a lot of customers in the barbershop. And you said, "Oh, teacher, it's because we're cheaper." And I said, "Oh," and you told me how much. And I said, "Oh, but there's another barbershop down here that's always with a lot of people." But you said also, "Oh, we get a lot of people. We get more people where our shop is because it's busier. We're close to the metro. Down here, not many people." See? So this is what Arnold was talking about to me. He was telling me about it. You work at Sydney Barber.
Cindy Ross.
Sydney Bros. Yeah, but it says Sydney Bros and it says Barber. Yeah, the other day I was walking and I passed the metro and I was like, and I saw the barber shop like with the typical barber pole and everything. And I was like, "Oh, this must be where Arnold works," because it was closed. Saturday afternoon.
What time?
Oh, pretty late. I think it was like maybe 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I think.
This is close. 5.
Yeah. So you see what I mean? Like, and people are like, "Hey, go to this place because it's cheaper, the food is tastier, the chef is better." I don't know. You always, whenever you recommend, you go here, do this, Do that because, and then you compare. Yeah. I'm not very interested in art, Alice. I'm more interested in history. Good. It isn't very warm today. It was, Paulo?
Isn't very warm today. It was warmer yesterday.
It was warmer yesterday. Okay, good. Jerry. These tomatoes don't taste very good. The other ones tasted better. Good job. Alice, Britain? Is bigger. So France is bigger. Good. Arnold.
London.
London.
London
London. Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
very beautiful, but it is
Paris.
Paris.
Paris. Yes. Is. So London isn't very beautiful.
Prettier.
Okay. Okay. Paris is prettier. Yeah. But if you're saying beautiful, you would use that, right? Yeah. So you would say is more beautiful. Now, I'm going to accept prettier. But usually, pretty, you know where pretty comes from? For example, when Jerry said, "Oh, teacher, I like how you look today. You look pretty. You look prettier than other days." Okay? So it's more pretty is more about the way you look. Beautiful is a person in terms of maybe beauty, faith could be aesthetically, also could be as a person. Not necessarily has to be outside, it can be inside, right? So I think when we're talking about the cities, we're talking about the beauty of the city. So it's not that it's pretty, because if I put some makeup, now I'm pretty. You understand the difference? So pretty and beautiful, similar, but not the same. This knife isn't very sharp. Jerry, have you got a sharper one? Yes. Good. So just like Arnold and his scissors or his blades, correct? To say, I can't use this blade. I need a sharper one. Yes. Alice, people today,
They aren't very
polite.
polite. In the past,
They were.
they were player.
Politer? Okay. So you could say politer, but we're going to say more polite. But some people do say politer. This is something we'll probably see on Wednesday, okay? Yeah, those are difficult because sometimes, as I said to you, when I watch TV and that and I see it, and so then I go, oof. Okay, Last one. The weather isn't too bad today. Often, Pablo, it is much better. Good. Good job. Super easy, simple. Yes? Simple. This is super important, by the way. Comparatives and superlatives demonstrate a very high level of English. Very high level. Not just anybody can compare. Why? Because as I said to you, it is very common that people usually, always use more easy, more hard, more with everything, because they think that's how you compare. Just use more and then done. But no. So if you use them correctly and you can actually put them into practice, then basically you're good to go. One of the most important things where people use comparatives? So, for example, when if you do an IELTS English test, they ask you a question. They say, "Tell me about yourself." And as soon as you say, "I'm from," and then a different country, and then you might go, "Oh, I'm from this city in this place." Well, then the expectation is they want you to compare your life before to now. Why? Because one, you're using comparatives, but also you're contrasting past with present. Okay? So that's a big one. And in PTE also, there is an exercise where they give you 25 seconds to see like a graph, and you need to compare. A lot of people can't do it because they don't know the basic rules. Okay? Good.
Teacher, ya que usted nos enseña eso, tengo compañero que es de Argentina.
From Argentina, okay.
Y ahora me doy cuenta que él siempre dice, por ejemplo, cuando le está cortando el pelo a la oreja,
Yeah.
les pregunta por Shora. Eso está mal dicho, ¿cierto?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Todo el día diciendo eso.
No, that's wrong. That's super wrong. He should be saying, "Would you like it shorter?" Yes. Now, to say more shorter, no. No. Would you like it shorter? Shorter? Now, it is okay to say quantity, to say, for example, let's say they're cutting your hair. Yep. And usually the hairdresser goes, "Oh, how much are we cutting today? You told me the other day." Yep. So, sometimes the hairdresser goes, "Oh, how much are we cutting?" So he goes, "Oh," to say something. "This much," right? And so I go, "Oh, no, much shorter. I want it much shorter." So it might be there. If I go, "Oh, I want you to cut it this short," it's like, "Oh, that's much shorter." So it's not just that it's shorter, but it's much shorter. Much. Because you're adding quantity. But if I go, "Oh, a bit more," right? So just saying a little shorter, a bit shorter. This is better. To say, "Oh, would you like it a bit shorter? Would you like it a little shorter?" This is the correct way. But not more shorter. That is not correct. Yes. But it's common. Everybody uses more for everything, thinking, "Oh, they understand. It's okay." The problem is that, if somebody says more shorter, it's a clear indication that the person probably is, learning English or foreign, straight away. How many times? Remember, what was it, a couple of weeks or a month ago or so with Diego? And you guys were like, more easy. I was like, no, easier. Huh?
No,
Easier.
Diego me.
Diego and I.
Yeah.
Diego and I. Yeah. And I was like, nah, this is very common for me. Students always make this mistake. They go, no, not like this. No. Now you know why. Okay, next. Older than, more expensive than. So this is something you were already doing, Arnold. When before in the exercise you said than me, then her, then you. When we're doing comparative, I'm not going to say always, because sometimes it isn't necessary. Remember when I said to say, just thinking. No, I can't think in the moment. But usually when we're comparing, doing contrast between two things, we are always going to use than, or most of the time. I'm not going to say always, because there are some times where, because the idea, so you have two ideas. So for example, you're not very sure. Your brother is taller. I don't need to say your brother is taller than you, because I already told you you're short. So I have two ideas, you see? But if I need to bring these ideas together, then when I compare, I am usually going to use than. Here, for example, I love this because I always think of, when I see this, I'm taller than you. She's taller than him. Like little children. Huh? My mommy loves me more than you. Huh? Right? My mommy, she gives me more kisses or whatever, like little things to say, my dolly is prettier than yours. Children always, when they're fighting, my phone is better than yours. All the time. People are, it's comparing, but it's also very competitive. Look, remember at the beginning with Dr. Finkel, when he says, you're going to be happier, you're going to be more intelligent. And Boris is like, oh, but I'm happy now. I'm intelligent. Yeah, but you're less intelligent than me. So this is something, can you imagine, for example, that at work, you might want to say, you have your work colleague who you see isn't working as hard as you. You see yourself, you get there, you punch in, you work hard. And then the other person, and say, oh, break, come on, like, why? Like, I definitely work harder than this person. So, when they start saying, okay, so we're going to start charging penalties for people arriving late, and we're going to do this and that, of course, hey, boss, come on. I definitely work harder than Tom. He doesn't work as hard as me. So I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? Like, this is something you do. So yeah, this is very common to compare, to compete. If you go, for example, I'm a better barber than you. I have more studies than you. Maybe, right? With coworkers, you have problems. And also, when definitely we're talking about prices. If we're going on holidays and Jerry says, Nick, don't forget to reserve the Hyatt. And I go, yeah, don't worry. And we go on holiday. And when we arrive, it says Meriton. And Jerry, Nick, what happened? Didn't we say the Hyatt? Yeah. But look, the Meriton is cheaper. It's closer to the city. The rooms were bigger. So I decided here the Meriton, okay? The Hyatt is more expensive. What for? For a bigger pool? Come on. We stay here. See what I mean? So sometimes the expectation is different, but then you go, no. This one better because and you justify. So the Europa Hotel is more expensive than the Grand, as we can see here. Let's see. So we use than after comparatives, older than, more expensive than, etc. Okay, Arnold, when you're ready. There are the examples. You can see them. Athens.
Athens is older than Rome.
Yes.
The orange more expensive.
No, it doesn't say the.
Are orange more expensive than bananas?
Good. Yes.
It's easier to take a taxi than to take a bus. A bus.
A bus.
How are
No,
you?
take the bus.
The bus. How are you today? Not bad. Better than yesterday.
Uh-huh.
The restaurant is more crowded than usual.
Yes. The restaurant is more crowded than usual. So you see, it says Athens is older than, Orange is more expensive than, it's easier than, so the taxi than the bus. And you see, these are two ideas because it goes, how are you today? Not bad. And then you see, it says, better than yesterday. So, I know it's definitely better than before. The restaurant is more crowded than usual. And this is what I was saying to you. Remember when I said there is a play between, I said, the subject and the object. So here, I can run faster than him. Here, you're using your subject who is doing the action, and the him would be the object. Now, when we say, oh, I can run faster than him, it's like, do, 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 gone. Okay. But when I say, I can run faster than he can, this here now, I'm placing more emphasis. Here I have my can. Yes. So here now, nothing to do that this is academic. It has nothing to do with formal, informal. No. The difference is when I go, I can run faster than him. There is not much importance on him. The focus is on here. He can. Because I go, listen to how I say, I can run faster than he can. See, I go, than he can. To go, I can run faster than him. Boom. I can run faster than he can. See, I put more emphasis. So you go, oh, you can you? See what I mean? So this, which one is more common? Definitely this one. People use more this one. This one's easier. But I must say that people do use this too. Again, this demonstrates a different level of English. Commonly, people use this. If people use this, oh, you go, wow. Yeah, that person knows what they're talking about. You are a better singer than me. You are a better singer than I am. See? You are a better singer than me. So you are a better singer than I am is the me, than I am. You're using the complete form because we're using the verb to be.
The me is the same.
Same. This one is more stressed. It's just more stressed. It does make a difference. It does make a difference because you're focusing the person to listen. So when you say that, you go, oh, okay. With this one, it's like, okay, sure. But this one's like, okay. Like, because you're putting more emphasis. I got up. So this is past tense. Got up with your did. I got up earlier than her. I got up earlier than she did. You see? Okay? It's good, it's good. Any questions? Alice, what happened? You, huh? Really? I feel it's pretty hot myself. Yeah. Really? You suffer a lot from the cold, don't you?
looking for it. It was just I found it very warm.
And it's raining. Oh, the running.
It's raining. Yes. Again.
Amen.
Again, yeah. Iga, Alice. There. Okay, good. So let's see the next. And so you see, here is what I was telling you about more or less. It doesn't say so. Yeah, it says more or less, but it does. It's true. And so your more is going to be more, and then your less is going to be less. You see, that makes sense, doesn't it? Same in Spanish, absolutely. More or less. So it says, how much did your shoes cost? 60 pounds? No, you go more than that. If I say, how much are you paying for your room? Oh, $300? No, more than that. Right? If I say, oh, how much is it to go to China? $2,000? No, less than that. So you can say more than, and then you can go less than. So here, the film was very short, less than an hour. They have more money than they need. You go out more than me. So here you have more than 50, less than. So more than, less than. Yes? Okay, good. And then we said that we can also add quantities. Now, we also talked about a few weeks ago about quantities of many and much. We talked about countable and uncountable. We talked about few, a few. So when you were saying to me, yes, is it okay to use more shorter? And I said no, because we use quantities. So here with this one, it says a bit. So a lot of people go a bit, or some people say a little, or you can even say a little bit. You have all those variations. So it says box A is a bit, a little bit bigger than box B. So not much difference. Yes? But here box C is much bigger than box D. So meaning much bigger is very big difference. Just like, for example, when I go to the hairdresser, usually my hair is white, it's ugly, it's, it looks tired, whatever. And then when, of course, does the color, cuts, does the blow dry, and then, I feel much better. It looks much better. So not just better to say, it looks better. No, to say much better, like big difference.
Much better
Than before. Absolutely. And if you say, that's a bit better, so meaning the change was minimum. So, for example, to say, hey, you're missing something, and you put a necklace. Oh, that's a bit better. So why? Because you left the outfit, but you just put a necklace. So the change wasn't very dramatic, wasn't very different. Okay? And so you can say a bit or a much. So remember, a bit, much, bigger, older, better. You can complement it to say, what is the difference with this book and the blue book? Oh, the blue book is a bit more difficult than this one. But when I do the supplementary exercises, everybody's there thinking, like, how do I do it? It's much more difficult. And you guys go, oh, how are the exercises? Teacher, this is much more difficult. Huh? All of you complain. You go, this is much more difficult. More expensive than? Okay, Jerry, when you're ready. So, Canada.
Canada is much bigger or bigger. ¿Cómo es mejor?
Whatever you feel like. If you want to say bigger, you feel comfortable bigger, it's okay. If you want to say bigger, like Aussie, you can say that.
Okay. Canada is much bigger than France.
But be careful, because I've had students that go, teacher, why when I want to buy water, nobody understands me? I go, teacher, to buy, and they go, oh, excuse me, do you have water? And the person goes, excuse me, what?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think it's the pronunciation. I think it's more that the person maybe is busy and didn't hear. Because, sorry, if you say to me water, I know exactly you're talking about water. So, it's silly for me. So, but sometimes also when people go, oh, excuse me, could you please bring us some water? And they look at me like, oh, water? Oh, straight away. So be mindful. I'm not saying do it, but I'm saying, like, make sure if people go, oh, you go, oh, this is better. And they go, sorry? Better. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah? Good.
Okay. Canada is much bigger
Yeah.
than France.
Good. Sue.
Sue is a bit older.
Older. Yeah, than Joe.
She's 25 and
And he's
24.
24. Good.
The hotel was much more expensive than I
Expected. Yes?
expected.
Did.
You go out much more.
Out. You go out. Open your mouth.
You go out
Good.
much more than
Much.
me.
Much. No much. Much more.
You go out much more than me.
Excellent. Yes. Okay, good. So we've got a few minutes. So I'm going to leave these exercises for homework. Yes? As an example, okay, for you to review. So go back, look at it, and I want you to do the examples. Yes? Okay? Now, I want you to do another exercise before we finish. So remember I told you in PTE, there is an exercise. And it's in the speaking section. And it's called Describe Image, where a lot of people fail because they don't know how to compare. And so during the week, we're going to be doing exercises, but we're going to be practicing also real examples to help you think a little bit more. So here it's in the speaking. It's called Describe Image. And so here, this is the exercise. Look what it says. Look at this. Look at the chart. It says you have 25 seconds and speak. So 25 seconds, and then you must speak about the two images doing comparatives. So it says speak in detail, describe in detail, and you have 40 seconds. So what can you say? What do you say? 25 seconds gone already. So now it says speak. But what I want you to do before you go home, I want you to look, I want you to write 4 sentences. What do you see using comparatives? So write them down. When you're ready, show me, and you can go home. Okay? Just 4. Come on, come on. Not that difficult.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know how to say that.
So it's not different from what we were doing. So the first thing, okay, 2 countries, yes? Iceland and Norway. What are we talking about? Distribution of blood types, yes? Here, the colors, Alice, it says blood types. So blue is O, orange is A, green is B, and then here the yellow is AB. These are the blood types. So by looking at the 2, yes? What can you tell me here? What color is this? Blue. And so blue is blood type O.
The Ireland blue is more
That
More than
more than movie, right?
Norway. So what do you need to say? Because, again, what did you say? Iceland. Why just O? You need to say something more. There's an action. Iceland what?
Iceland blue tie.
No. But what? What is the action?
Is
Okay, but don't say got because got is construction. Okay, what would be the action? Iceland, not island. Iceland.
Iceland.
Thank you. So Iceland. So first ID. Iceland has what? More blood types. Exactly. This is why when they say, "Oh, do you think Pablito will do a good PT test?" And I go, "Yes, I know." Good. It's good. See? So now you can do the other way around, right? What could be the other way? Let's say number 2. Norway has less blood types O than Iceland. Okay, what else can we say? So now this one.
Norway have more blood type A.
So has the S is Pablo. So Norway has
more.
more blood types. I'm going to put like this, okay? Blood types A than Iceland. Alice, this means blood types, okay? So I don't write the whole thing. Okay, and again, what about the green? What can we say? So the green, are they the same? No. So Iceland, what? Yes, but how much?
A bit more.
A bit more. So you could say Iceland has a bit more. We could say even people with blood type B than Norway. And what about here, blood type AB?
Same.
The same.
Yeah.
So here we talked about the same a few weeks ago, yes? When we were talking about quantities, many, much, little, a few. So we also talked about the same. So we could say in number 5 that blood type AB is the same in no comparative because it's the same. You can't compare. So it's the same in Norway and Iceland. Now that is a basic version of how to do it. A very simple 25 seconds. Okay, go. Da. This is my analysis. There are other ways in which we can do it, and I'll show you tomorrow. There is, with comparative, there is not only one way. There are many different ways because it will depend on how you want to talk about the information. So there's not only just one way. Yes? If you know your comparatives, you could say in many different ways.
I got a few mistakes, but I'm trying to do better.
Okay, good. Amazing. So, because, if you talk about the distribution of blood types, that's one way. But if we talked about maybe the population in the different countries, right, that could be different. Okay, good. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.